Hello everybody. We are going to make another small sports car today. This is a sort of a city car, sort of a sporty in nature city car. Has the high mounted brake lights, kind of a sporty paint job to it, some accent color, and a low nose. So this would be something sort of like a Smart 4.2, or maybe one of the little Renaults or a Citroën or something like that with the bright colors on it. What's great about this car is that it's primarily made out of spare parts. In fact, looking at it, you can see that there's really nothing that's particularly special about the parts that are on this car. So there's a good chance that you already have the parts to make this car lying around doing nothing, and you can have this nifty little car. So let's show you how to do it. Okay, the first thing you'll notice about this design is that it uses the brick style of wheels, and we're also using the plate style of wheels. That's how we get the overall look of the car. The chassis is just a basic, what is this, a 2x8? No, it's a 2x6. Sorry, it's a 2x6. This one has holes in it because that happened to be what we had left over. Obviously, it's a spare part car, so you can use whatever you have. The brick wheel sits squarely on the plate, just like that. The plated wheel sits on the top of the 2x6, but offset by one lug, if you can see that there. And to fill that gap, we're going to use this bracket as a bumper. And that is the basic chassis. That's how it all starts. We're going to set that aside, and next we're going to work on the front. Alright, so to make the front, we're going to use a 2x2, and we're going to put a bracket right on top, like that. And then to even it up, we're going to put a 1x2 on top, like so. Real simple, add the grille. Of course, you can do any color combination you want. We didn't have any gray cars in town, so we thought we'd go with gray. And we'll put on the lights, which are just these usual pieces. I was going to use yellow ones, but I didn't want it to look too French, so we didn't go with that. That is the main front assembly, believe it or not. We're going to add just a regular 2x4 plate on the top, and that's most of the hood. And then a 1x2 tile just to kind of give it more of a hood look. And that's the whole front assembly. So we'll set that off to the side. And next we're going to do the middle. Alright, now when that middle section goes on, it actually straddles the chassis. So it's going to go on top and hang down. And to do that, we need to have the basic floor where the passenger is going to sit. There's no seat in this car, so this is the floor. I'm going to take a 1x3. In this case, we're using a trim color, the red, and we're going to put that on one side. Now this is a spare part car, so I didn't have another one of those pieces to use, so I'm substituting a 1x1 in red and a 1x2 in red to get the same effect. And we're going to finish off that floor with a 1x4 plate. So we have this little pallet looking thing. Steering wheel goes on, the front part there. Now if you have the part, you would use a 1x3 brick. We didn't have the parts, so I'm actually using these this kind of mixture of bricks to accomplish the same thing. Basically you're making a little wall there. If you have a door piece, by all means use the door piece. That'll give you functioning doors on your car. I don't have any extra doors, not in this color. So that's why we just use regular bricks, and it works for this car, I think. So there's your middle section. Alright, we're going to set that aside, and then we're going to do the back. Alright, kind of like the front and like the middle, this is another 2x4 plate. There's 3 of them in the whole car, and that's part of the reason why this is so easy to do out of spare parts, is because there's so many of these around usually. Put on the taillights, Little grill back here to kind of suggest that the engine's in the back. Another tail light. End up with this sort of looking thing. And now we're going to add 1x1s right here by the tail light, like that. Put another one on. Now we want to move that up to make a sort of a rear fender sort of smoothness there. To do that, we're using a 1x2 tile. These, sorry, a 1x1 tile. These tiles actually were stolen from a cement mixer. They're usually concrete on a construction site in town, and that's where we got them from. So now we've got those smooth parts, and then kind of a roll bar piece here to give it some interest. Now, if we bring the main chassis back out, let's see how this all goes together. It's really very simple. I know, we're working on your car. Settle down, it's almost ready. So, as I was saying, this is very simple now. We're going to take the back, and the back goes onto the back, and the front goes onto the front. In the middle, I think you can guess where the middle goes. The middle goes in the middle. You're going to kind of squeeze that on there. It's a fairly sturdy little car. All you need now, windshield, which we happen to be using a gray one because it's a gray car, and a shorter one because it's supposed to be a sports car. And that is essentially it. Like I said, what's great about this car is that it uses just spare parts. So you don't have to have a lot of Legos laying around to make a fairly basic chassis and get a fairly basic little car to spice up your Lego streets. But I think it's a pretty good looking little car. And it's certainly easy to park. And there's a lot of ways you can customize this by adding doors and things like that, doing it a different color. You could put a spoiler on the back. I think there's some improvement that could be done here on the front probably, but we haven't gotten around to it yet. But all in all, that's a good little car. Thanks. Bye. See how this all goes together. It's really very simple. The back goes on the back. The front goes on the front. And that middle bit drops right down in the middle. Just, oops.